Hi, y'all. Welcome to Chat Channel. My name is Tim Hayden, and I'll be your host. We have a super show for you today. Our guest is the multi talented Dan White. Dan is a Florida born actor with numerous film, television, and voiceover credits to his name. He's appeared in episodes of Chicago Med, Empire, and played O.J. Simpson on NBC's Law and Order True Crimes. Dan has lent his voice to series such as Clarence, along with several video games, including the Walking Dead franchise. Dan is best known for his role as Romadal on the Showtime's Barbershop and Elijah Crowe on ABC's General Hospital. Please welcome Dan to the show. Hi, Dan.
Hey, Tim, how you doing, brother?
Doing great. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, man. Thank you for having me. How you doing, everybody out there?
Well, before we go any further, got to get something out of the way. Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you. Feeling good. Feeling very grateful for another rotation around the sun.
I would sing happy birthday to you, but I want to keep our viewers.
I appreciate it, man. I feel the sentiment. I feel the love.
I appreciate you being here on your birthday of all days.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and thank you to all your viewers and listeners that are tuned in. I really appreciate you all as well.
So I'm going to start way back at the beginning. What was it like for you growing up? I know you were born in Florida, but you live in Mississippi.
Yeah, I actually I grew up in D.C. and Virginia.
Okay.
And I've been in California almost or over 20 years now. But I grew up in D.C. and Virginia and was back and forth. My grandmother's in Mississippi, in Jackson, and so roots very much there. And in D.C. and Virginia, I went back to visit my grandmother all the time until she moved in with us when she was in her 90s in Virginia. But it was really something else with just Jackson State University, which is in the news all the time now because of Coach Prime, is an institution that means everything to me. My grandmother taught there for 38 years. And then I went to preschool there, then I went to undergrad there, and then I came back and I taught there. And so the theater there is named after her. And I grew up, running around that campus with her. And my first lead role was at Jackson State. And it was really, Jackson, Mississippi means a lot to me in terms of my development and just in terms of me as a person and as a man. Yeah.
Well, it's an honor for me to be able to talk with a fellow Southern boy.
My man.
So, do you come from an acting or artistic family?
I largely come from an academic and medical family. Both of my parents are physicians. And my grandmother was a professor emeritus at Jackson State. And my grandfather was a dentist and civil rights leader as well. So that's been my background. So I primarily am the first artist / entertainer of the last several generations.
Well, that's awesome, but you still come from a pretty strong family, it sounds like.
Oh, I'm very proud of my family. Absolutely.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have 4 siblings. I have a sister who's actually here in LA. She is in entertainment as well. She's a producer. And I have 2 sisters back east. One is a graphic artist. My brother is a realtor in Mississippi. And then my other sister is actually in Kentucky, in Louisville.
I was just there the other day.
Yeah, she's right by you, and she is really wonderful community activist. And we really are proud. I'm really proud of all of them, and honored to call them my siblings.
Now, see, you do come from an artistic family.
Right.
Producer, you've got, you do. The reason I always ask that is because it's from my own curiosity. Mm-hmm. I think 99% of the celebrities that I've hit on and asked that question to, 99% come from some sort of artistic family, whether it's acting, painting, singing, different things.
Right.
And it's just amazing to me how that it seems it's genetic some way.
That's fun. Yeah. I mean, yeah. everyone is, I guess you could say, everyone that has a really strong creative streak that they express in different ways. Yes, absolutely so. Absolutely so.
So, did you take drama in high school?
I did. I did. I went to high school in Newport News, Virginia, Hampton Roads Academy, where my first lead role is the plant in Little Shop of Horrors. uh, and that was really what started it all. I was a lead role when I'm singing and having a great time, and I mean the voice that I did as the plant, I later did on TV, and it is the gift that keeps on giving. So yeah, it was great. And I also participated on the forensics team where you did dramatic interpretation of various pieces in addition to poetry reading. Hampton Roads Academy, and one teacher in specific, her name is Mrs. Connie Holmes, who I'm still in touch with today. Were very, very instrumental in sparking my creative spark.
When did you know that acting was the path you wanted to take?
10th grade.
10th grade.
10th grade. I did an impromptu speech for school, and Mrs. Holmes, who I was just talking about, gave me the same topic and had me do another one in front of the entire school. And it was received so well. I was like, this is going to be it for me. My mom says I've been saying it since I was little, but that was when I really remember actually actively telling people that was what I wanted to do.
What was your first acting job?
My first acting job actually was a voiceover job here in LA. I was the voice of a show that was number one on MTV for many years called Pimp My Ride. And it was a show about where Exhibit would take and change cars into these junked up beaters, into these luxurious cars that had fish tanks and racetracks and Xboxes and all the stuff all in the car. So that was my first gig. And then my first television gig actually was for the Christian Broadcast Network back in the 90s, a show called Big Brother Jake. And it was Jake Seinfeld, the comedian. It's kind of an autobiographical story about him. And I was a child. That was technically my first time on camera. And then my first large job was, of course, Barbershop, the series on Showtime.
Yes, Barbershop. Now, I originally didn't watch it. I started watching it last week, and I'm about halfway through the first season there. It's really good. I love how everybody's kind of scared of you at first.
Yes.
You're intimidating.
that was an acting job. I'm not intimidating in real life.
No, you don't intimidate me, but you do have an awesome voice. You keep talking about the voiceovers, which we're going to talk about later on, but you do have an awesome voice. I wish mine was
so much
as good.
Thank you so much.
Do you remember what your first day was like on Barbershop?
Yes. We had a read through at Paramount, and it was all the cast. And then Omar Gooding, who was the lead in the show, of course, his brother is Cuba Gooding, Oscar-winning Cuba Gooding Jr., who we had all grown up watching. And Cuba came and popped into the read. And it was a really wonderful thing. And then that was like the first day of school, if you will. Where we got all our materials and we got to know each other, sat down and read through the scripts. And it was a really magical day. And it was so Omar was there, and then it was Tony Trucks, who's on SEAL Team now, and Bengai Kenabe, who was in the To Kill a Mockingbird, the sold out run on Broadway. And so a lot of folks that have had amazing careers, I got to work with on that show. So it was really, really awesome.
I was going to say it has an awesome cast because, yeah. Well, do you remember what your audition was like for that one?
I do. I got it that day.
Really?
12 pages. It came at 9. I got the audition. I got the script at 9 a.m. and the audition was 4 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was it was, but I don't know. It's like sometimes you just have a feeling, you know what I mean? And I was just so, and I think something that's really wonderful and like just to have in this business is just an attitude of gratitude. So I was just so excited and thankful for the opportunity that I did not have a lot of time to be nervous or worry about, oh, I only have this much time.
Right.
And I really wanted it too. So it was a really exciting day, and I was just in character for the next 10 hours or however long until and I went and worked with my coach. My coach I was working with. He directed a lot of TV in the 70s and 80s. His name is Rick Edelstein. He's actually he's still around. He's 93 years old now.
Wow.
But I went and worked with Rick, and then went to the audition. It was Robbie Reed, who's cast, all the Spike Lee's movies and so many wonderful projects and given so many people their first shot. So it was an honor to go in there and read for her, and then for John Ridley, who was the executive producer and then directed the first couple of episodes, and who's gone on to win the Oscar for 12 Years a Slave, and just had a really prolific career. So it was a wonderful thing to walk into the business and work with people like that.
Well, I think your first soap was Young and the Restless, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
That had to be a little intimidating walking onto that set.
That was again. I understand the sentiment of being intimidated is could be there, but my grandmother had recently passed away, and I promised her I was going to do Young and the Restless because that was her favorite. And that was her favorite. And later on, when I grew up, she was always watching Luke and Laura on General Hospital, but she was a big Shamar Moore fan. So Young and the like she used to watch Young and the Restless all the time. So I was like, I promise, I was like, one day I'm going to be on there. So, I said a little prayer and looked to the sky and said, we made it. So that was it was one day on the set, but it was really it was at the CBS lot. So I get to walk through Price is Right and see see the big wheel, and you see everything. And then I had I was in Eric Braden's dressing room, who's one of the longest running soap actors, period, but certainly the senior member of that show. So yeah, I mean, I wish I could say I was nervous, but I was just so excited and so thankful again. And it was just like, we got on. It was interesting though, that was my first time doing it. So having done a lot of episodic and multicam and things like that, it's like you block, you rehearse, you shoot, and that's it.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I of course, but just for anyone who may not be familiar with the process of shooting a soap, like it moves very, very quickly, and you just appreciate that you come in prepared and ready to rock, because you don't have a time for more than one take. Usually, it may be a pickup or something like that, a pickup where they just want to get one line. Again, Tim, I know you know this, but I'm just sharing this with those.
Oh no, I found it all. It didn't matter if I know it or not. I found it all amazing.
Cool.
I love hearing about it.
But yeah, so it was a quick day, but it was funny because I played a physician. So I would joke with my folks. I'm like, I got to play one of y'all on TV, so here. So, yeah, it was fun.
Well, your next soap was some little show called General Hospital.
Yes.
Where you played Mr. Elijah Crowe.
I did, a shady real estate developer with an agenda.
Shady, yeah, you could say that.
Right.
Elijah wasn't really the nicest person in the world.
Right. Well, he was operating from his hurt, and his hurt informed him, and hurt people sometimes. Though I think deep underneath it, there was love.
Do you remember your first day on that set of
That
General
sound, that
Hospital?
sound. I really spun that. You like how I spun that, right?
Yes, love it.
Yo, Tim, you should have seen your face. You're like, wow.
I don't watch my facial expressions, so there's no telling what kind of fate.
Oh man.
One of my friends was watching one of my episodes live, and her screen froze up, and it scrolls up. I was like, "This or something." Looking, I was like, "Oh, of all times."
Oh, that's so funny. Oh man.
Yeah, walking on. I mean, you got to go on the set where Luke and Laura filmed. You know, where your grandmother was talking about. What was that like?
You know, it was funny because I was in Nixon Falls, and all that stuff happened in Port Charles, right? So I mean, you know, of course, you're on the stage, and everything is there, you know, all the homes and everything like that, and that's awesome. It's like you're walking into, I mean, you grow up watching, right? You watch these homes and you see these sets, and it's really a surreal feeling. And it's something that I always do it. Like, I mean, like, especially with the soaps, like my grandma was like, that was my heart. You know what I mean? And I of course, you know, my daughter's name is Melania Rose after my grandma. And we just had a very special bond. So it was like, you know, I remember like Bernie Mac talking about, he went into comedy because he saw his mom crying. I mean, it was something really traumatic, like their house had burned. And he saw mom crying, and then a Richard Pryor show came on, and she stopped crying and started laughing. And when you see, like, so I just, you know, when you see something that gives someone you love such joy, it's
Yes.
like it's a gift to me. So I mean, I wanted to do soaps for her in a lot of ways. I mean, acting is. I mean, I couldn't quit if I wanted to. It's just blood. I love it. But specifically with that, like, it's just it was something. I remember because I auditioned for Mark Teschner. I have been auditioning for him for like 18 years, like since All My Children. And All My Children was the first callback I got. And I remember, and that's, my grandma was still alive then. I told her, I was like, I said something about Landview, and Landview, like, I mean, she was overjoyed, you know. So it was like these, that was one, like, I mean, that was All My Children. But she loved, she loved these worlds and these characters and their drama and everything like that. So that was something else.
See, you were talking about going on these different sets and stuff, you know, like Landview. I can't imagine being you on those sets because it's the thrill for me whenever I'm interviewing somebody. I get to say Springfield or Genoa City or Port Charles. You know, these towns that would never have the opportunity to really put in conversation. So being on the sets of them, I can't even imagine.
It was really something else. It was really something else because again, walking on the CBS lot for the first time, right? Walking on the CBS lot for the first time, walking through Wheel of Fortune. I'm not Wheel of Fortune, but walking through Price is Right. And so that was, I mean, it was great to see. And then also, you know, with the Port Charles, again, I was in Nixon Falls, right? But the magic is there because you're on these stages and everything. What was also very interesting too was you know, everything's dark in the studios. Like, you know, once in a while you shoot outside, but for the most part, it's completely dark inside and it's lit according to you know, whatever the setting is and whatever time of day it is. So that kind of tripped me out because I wasn't accustomed to that as much. Does that make sense?
Yes, and you know, I never ever thought about that till you just brought that up about the lighting being different according to what time of day it's supposed to take in place. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, and it's because usually, I mean, some like when we did Barbershop, of course, when we're in a house or something like that, that's inside, and that's inside of a house and everything like that. But I mean, I don't think I had done anything where it was supposed to be day, but you're still inside. That was new when I started doing shows.
Well, on General Hospital, you
Mhm.
went up against one of the most iconic people on the show, Mike, aka Maurice Bernard,
Yes, that
as
was
Sonny.
yep.
I mean, come on, that character going toe to toe with Sonny.
It was an honor. It was an honor,
Oh,
and
for sure.
thankful for Elijah. Elijah didn't know who he was because Elijah wouldn't have been going that hard. And he knows who he was dealing with, and everything like that. I was hoping that we were going to find out that I worked for him and he forgot or something like that. That would have been fun. You know what I mean? Because he lost his memory and was his character and everything. But yeah, it was. I mean, just you work with a pro. Just he steps in there, and I mean, I'm not saying anything that people haven't said about him. I mean, this is very, you don't carry a show for decades if you're not a phenomenal talent. So it was, it's like you rub elbows and hope some of that greatness, you just get a little bit of that magic on you. You know what I'm saying? So it was fantastic to work with him. Very gracious, funny guy. I got hit when he hit me with that branch on the when he knocked me out with the branch. We were blocking it, and he's joking. He's like, "Man, he's good. He could take it." So
Yeah.
we had a good time, and he's a big boxing fan, and I really respect and love what he does in terms of mental health, in terms of just breaking down a lot of the negative stigmas, and letting people's stories be heard. I mean, it's just a wonderful service that it just speaks to his character in terms of how he uses his platform for good. So I mean,
Yeah.
he's the class act all around. So it was fantastic working with him and fighting over Cynthia Watros with him, and that was great too. I mean, it's just like these are the people that won the Emmys multiple times, and to
Yes.
get to go back and to go with them, it was just fantastic.
So, do you think that we'll see more from Elijah? Because that's one character they did not kill off.
That's what I know. They didn't kill him, just in jail. So
But
yeah, I think maybe you have to save somebody. Maybe it would be cool to see him have some type of redemption, but it's also fun being a bad dude. You know what I mean?
the powers that be are listening. They could very easily write that Sonny needed some help that he couldn't find and needed your particular skills and got you out to help
That's it.
him.
That's it. So yeah, I mean that would be awesome, man. Like I said, I just I just had a blast. I just had a blast. It was you know going back and forth. I'm on there. I'm on there living out my Billy D. Williams dreams from when I was a kid. You know what I mean? There was so my act, and I was talking about Rick, who I worked with when I first came to town, but Gloria Gifford, who's done a lot of the soaps and worked from Broadway all over, is like who I've been working with for the last several years, and coached me through a lot of my auditions and things and little moments for, like, not little but moments for the show. One in particular, where I was like, I was wooing Nina, Cynthia, and there was one, just I felt like I was on Dynasty in the 80s. And I was like, I'd like us to go out and we'll have some candlelight, some wine, and a nice meal. I was like, man, I was like, yo, who's life in my living right now? I was like,
Oh, that got me there. So, you started several primetime shows like Haven and Empire and more, but you played as O.J. Simpson on an episode of Law and Order True Crime. What was that like, playing such a notorious person who's living?
Yeah, well, I mean, the interesting thing was that was so. What I didn't know is that when the Menendez brothers went to jail, they were, what do you call it? You know, I guess they wouldn't be roommates, cellmates. They were sometimes
Yes.
they were on the same. There's his cell
Pods.
next to theirs.
They're in the same pod, which is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
section of jail.
So OJ was like the what I was playing in that episode was OJ still thinking he's OJ. So all of you know the menace and everything that we ended up seeing, yeah, he was still thinking. I mean, because like in those scenes, he's signing autographs and memorabilia and so forth, and he's still thinking it's a party. He like, and that was that. I mean, that was the interesting part. This is like there was this I don't know how else to say it. Just delusion, just this delusional space. That it's still all good, and you know it's going to be fine. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh,
And that's you know that was the interesting thing for me was that they didn't want anything except a celebrity who would really like a huge celebrity who just thinks they're signing autographs.
right.
And then in the scene, he's like, Lyle Menendez is saying, hey, you know, everything they say, everything can and will be used against you. So don't drop your guard in here. And it's like, oh, they're just fans. I'm like, no, dude, those are police officers collecting evidence. Just you know that. So it was interesting. That I think that was the most unique aspect of it. Because it was just, you know, you make these discoveries and it's like, oh, I hadn't thought of that at all. You know, it's just another dimension to you know a character that you know. I mean, you know, it's a trip, man. Because I remember the Hertz commercials and Naked Gun, and I mean, like to see the shift. I mean, everybody used to love OJ 40 years ago, you know, and I was a little. I mean, I missed his football days, but I mean, you know, he was a movie star. And so that huge shift, and I actually got a chance to watch that documentary right before I did it, so that was very helpful too. So yeah.
Did he ever reach out to you?
Nah,
I'm not sure how I'd react, honestly. Whether it was good or bad, I don't know how I'd react to have it pop up on my phone.
It's crazy because you hear stories, and it's like when he interacts with people, it's just like he interacts like nothing happened. It's wild. So and I think that would freak me out more than anything if I just got a call. Hey man, how you doing? Oh, hey,
you just became part of history.
Right. My phone would I'd probably be entering a dead zone or something. That's terrible. No pun. I was not trying to make a pun. My phone would be breaking up.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to
say. So, you've done daytime, you've done prime time. They're two totally different beasts. I don't know how else to say it. Which do you prefer? Because at daytime you have to learn so much so fast, and nighttime you've got a little bit more time to.
Yes, because there's times in prime time where they'll rewrite and be like, oh, here's 5 pages on your next. The difference between that and daytime is you have a lot more takes and there's a lot more coverage. That's a tough. There's things I prefer about either one. Daytime, I could still go pick up my child. You know what I mean, from school. Like there was a time we shot like the first time we went. My first 2 episodes on the show, my call time was like 6 a.m. I was done at like 10:30. I had time to go to lunch. We shot those things. I mean, it was like boom, boom, out. Like and that was so I love that. And I love the I really love the drama of soaps. You know, it's so high stakes and it's so much at risk all the time, and that's fun. And I think it goes back to the true cathartic nature of why we have why we had Greek tragedies in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Um,
Yes.
these audiences will go to these tragedies and say, "Man, I'm glad I don't have to make that choice. I'm glad I don't have to deal with that." And bring these stories to life, and they can laugh, cry, and be mad, and everything in between. So daytime, I love daytime for that. Um, among other things that I'm probably not thinking of right now, but as far as prime time, um, I love the reach of prime time too, and everything like that. You know, people are home, so you have a chance to a lot. You know, you have a chance to sometimes reach different audience and everything like that. Um, a lot of a lot you can have a lot of impact on children as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think as kids watch TV at home. Um, I remember watching shows with my parents and my family growing up. You know, I had to go to bed at 9, but I can watch TV at 8. You know,
Yeah.
And that was family. That's one thing I really love about prime time is the fact that, certainly. I mean, well, now you can stream everything, but
Yes.
I mean, just growing up and what meant a lot to me development wise, sitting around and watching the CBS movie that would come on and special events and watching French Stole Christmas and Charlie Brown Thanksgiving and all those things what that's what the magic of prime time. Those moments that you have with your parents when you're little, and now I have with my child and everything like that. So that's what I love about primetime TV. It's like that's family time.
Right.
Yeah.
And well, I know as a fan, it seems that soap fans seem to get the opportunity to get attached to the characters more because you're in our homes 5 days a week instead of just once a week. So yeah, that's a big difference there too.
Yeah, that too.
But you were in a few films, one of them called Creature of Darkness.
Yes.
What was it like being in a sci-fi movie like that?
It was I had a great time. Devin Sawa from Final Destination and who's on Chucky now played we're like he was the lead and I was his best friend, but like the second lead basically, which was fantastic. We shot out in a desert in Palmdale, and it was summertime and there was a 40-degree shift in temperature every day. So it'd be like 85 during the day and it'd be like 30 at night. Or like 40 at night. I mean, it was one night like there was I doing math. I understand it was more than 40 degrees, but I'm just saying one time it was almost freezing. I do remember that. And ironically, we had on vests and layers during the day, and at night the creatures chasing us, and we got out of our tents because it was a camping thing. So we're acting really cold. So, but these are things that these are just behind the scenes things that you may not think of, but that add texture to the experience. You know what I mean?
Did you shoot on any green screen on that movie, or was it all
we were all everything we did was on location, and the special effects were added in post.
That's cool.
Yeah, the alien. They had a really big actor that they superimposed everything on. And everything, but it was great. We had a good time. A lot like Sonoy Lake, who was in Blue Crush and worked a lot, and Kevin Alejandro that was on Arrow and True Blood, and it was a fun cast. It was a great cast. And it was because Final Destination was one of my favorite movies. So to be working with an actor who's a lead in it, who really sold. Who really sold everything in Final Destination 1 was a lot of fun. Yeah,
those movies kind of each one of them I could take a scenario out of each one and have a freak out. But I think the log truck is probably the one that scares me most.
Oh man, yeah, I can't drive behind. That movie came out 20 years ago. I still can't drive behind a log truck. I know exactly what you mean.
It's scary there. Well, after that, we're going on to the next subject.
Okay.
You're a voice actor as well,
Yes.
and you can be found in many games like Pimp My Ride, The Walking Dead Season 2, many, many more.
Mhm.
What is that like? That's got to be, I mean,
It,
you're in there both by yourself, usually, aren't you?
yes, usually we did an audio like an audio biography, not an autobiography, but an audio biography of Thomas Dorsey, who was largely considered to be, wrote Amazing Grace and largely considered rather to be the father of gospel. That was a lot of fun because we were all we were all in different booths, but all in the same room. So sometimes you have that experience. Largely though, I'm completely by myself. And but I'm able to kind of I can take some liberties. Like when I did Aliens Colonial Marines, uh, I played a few different characters in that, but one of them was one of the Colonial Marines, which like you from like the Aliens, the James Cameron Aliens movie, the sequel. So it was a bunch of those.
Yes.
Um, so I had them turn the lights out in the studio. It was a big studio. So a big part of that game and that world is all the stuff that's in the dark. So, it's fun to be able to recreate some of that magic in the studio with the things running by and then with the things like coming back behind you. And we had like voiceover people sometimes people say, well, which acting do you like better? And it's all acting. It's just using different, you're in a different environment, but you still create the character. You still are creating the environment. You still have relationships. You're creating a relationship with the other characters and other actors. So there's the similarities just don't stop. And from an actor standpoint, you still have to do the work. You still have to do
Right.
all that prep to make it happen. So that was great. I did a God of War, so the new God of War just came out, and that's based upon like Norse mythology. And I did the one on Greek mythology.
Okay.
And I played a soul in the underworld, and I played a training soldier. I played a lot of different characters on that as well. And it's just fun to step into these worlds. Greek mythology was my jam growing up. It started with Harry Hamlin in Clash of the Titans back in the day, and that was. And then I read a lot of Greek mythology growing up, so it's fun to step into these worlds. I love the period pieces. Got a chance to work on, like for example, that's a period piece working in ancient Greece, right? And then
Yes.
Walking Dead. I would say Walking Dead, even though I've had to die by fire, acid, bludgeoning, Far Cry 5 and 6. I got killed in just about every imaginable. I think I got dropped in. I drowned. I got dropped into acid like a vat one time. Like it was like the characters went out and badly. But even saying all that, the most intense project was definitely Walking Dead. Definitely Walking. The just what it would feel like if you could be eaten by a mob at any time. That energy was palpable even in the studio. The second you walked in, and when you're so hungry, you want to like you'll eat any forest creature that runs by, skunks included.
Nice.
I'm from the country, and I had frog legs, and I've had I think catfish. I still make the best catfish out of anyone that I know. A skill I gained in Jackson. But yeah, gator, frog legs. I pretty much everything, right? But I you eat it because you want to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, and in that game, like we would be killing each other over half of a rabbit and things like that. So it was pretty wild. Um, and just to have I had having to recreate. You're at a door. There's 10 zombies coming to eat you, and there's somebody on the door on the other side that you have to convince to let you in, who's mad that you just killed their brother. Like it's pretty intense.
That's crazy too to have to do all those different scenarios because you don't know which one the gamer is going to be playing at.
Right,
Uh,
right.
how did they do that? Do you have the script and watch along, or do you just do the script and then they add the animation later?
Both,
Both.
both. Like there's a project that I'm working on for DC right now that I can't talk about. I can't go into too much detail, but I play somebody with powers, and sometimes we watch the video because I have to match it. But 9 times out of 10, it's something that I've already done. Like I recorded beforehand.
Right. Well, and you don't only do dark games, and you had too many neat games. I couldn't list them all. I mean, but one you did was Madagascar 2. So
Yes.
you're not always so in the dark.
No, that true. No, that was a voice match. I had to do Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac passed away. So I had to do some voice matching for the character for Ben Stiller's dad, which is the character that Bernie Mac played. So there was that. There's we're not all getting that. That's a very good point that I appreciate you making, Tim. I'm not Mr. Video Game Macabre out here. It's I have let me. So yeah, the that game's a lot of fun, and that's for kids. So I get to do games like that, and I'm trying to think, like driving games. Like I did Fast and Furious. I actually played the Tej, who was Ludacris, on the driving game. So that was a lot of fun. Driving games are fun. The cartoonish games are fun. Pin My Ride game was a trip. Like they literally you could customize cars in the game. So that was fun. A lot. They've been the video game. I played a hunter hunting a shark. I guess this is dark again, but there was a game called Man Eater where you play as the shark, and I was one of the hunters playing. I was playing one of the hunters trying to get the shark, who did not succeed, nor did he survive. So I guess I got eaten again. But yeah, it's video game. I grew up playing video games, and I still like to. I remember as my parents would be like, would try to tell me I was, when you're a kid, they want to tell you, oh, go do something else instead. And now once I got to be like in my 20s, I'm like, Mom, I'm doing research right now. This is homework actually what I'm doing right now. So far be it from me to deprive the people of the preparation they need.
Exactly. And I do research all the time, and some of it really just is not that much fun, but getting to watch movies and clips and stuff, that's the highlight for me.
No.
That's the research. Do you like doing voiceovers?
I do.
Or voicing? It's not voiceover, it's voicing.
Yeah, I mean, well, some of it is literally I'm voicing over something else. And sometimes like that, I mean, I got to start doing a lot of voice matching for other people, from Bernie Mac to The Rock, Tracy Morgan, Jamie Foxx. Yeah, so that's a lot of fun too, because that's like music. You play an instrument?
No.
Well, it voice matching is like playing a song. You got to find the rhythm, you got to find the tempo, you find the pitch, and that's how you do it.
Right.
But
everybody's got to be the same key too, or it's going to be awful.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like exactly. And so, but the creating the characters have been, original characters with voiceover is a lot of fun. Because the video game, especially with the video game industry and cartoons during the pandemic, they exploded. both industries exploded. It's been, with Clarence, I play the principal, and my daughter watches Clarence like religiously. She used to just watch my episodes, but she watches it. That's part of her morning routine is Clarence and whatever she's noshing on for breakfast. But she really enjoys that, and that's really fun. When I'm doing projects that my daughter likes.
Is she showing any interest?
She wants to be a YouTuber. She's been asking. I'm like she's been asking me about a YouTube channel probably since she was 3 or 4 years old. She's 8 now. So I just completely off the entertainment. I actually have a dog grooming company here in LA that also offers retail. So we rolled out some of our products, and that was her first modeling job, holding the products. And it was a paid gig too. So that was her first foray into entertainment, and everything like that. So she likes it, and I actually have had her on stage with me on shows as well. So she likes it, but she wants to do a YouTube channel. So I guess probably in the next year I'm gonna go ahead and do it. When she was super little, I was just concerned, and I'm still going to be concerned, of course. But they say if a child really wants to do something, they'll keep asking you about it, and she's a persistent little lady. So yeah.
So are you going to encourage her, or do you want her to be an actor? Because I know some actors that are like, no. Some are like, yeah.
Well, I mean, I want her to do what makes her happy. I want her to do what she wants to do. So if this is what she wants to do, absolutely. And it's not, and even you don't really. I mean, I didn't really decide to go for it until my last year of college. I was a broadcast journalism major. That's what my undergrad degree is in, and I was doing the news. And everything like that. And I had a conversation with my mom, and I was about to go. I was going to a mass comm job fair, and there was a typo on my resume. And if you know me, like I won spelling bees in 5th, 6th, and 8th grade. So I am like a misspelled word is like nails on a chalkboard for me. And I had a resume that had a typo, and I didn't care. And I was like, all right, dude, like if you don't care about a typo, then this is not what you want to do. And I had a conversation with my mom that night. I was like, Mom, I want to be an actor. And she's like, well, go. And that was when I started auditioning, and then I got a full ride to Cal Arts, California Institute of the Arts, and I got a scholarship to UCLA, and I ended up going with Cal Arts, and I got into several drama schools, but that was my mom encouraging me to follow my heart. So I mean, I wouldn't do anything but that with my daughter.
Well, I'm glad you didn't go into being a news anchor, because you have too big of a personality to do that. You've got too big of a personality to share with us, the fans.
I appreciate that, Tim. I appreciate that. But I have the utmost respect for news anchors. A good friend of mine I went to college with, DeMarco Morgan, is the anchor at CBS.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Yes, I have all respect for them too. I wasn't trying to diss them. I've got a couple of friends that are local news people here, but
I appreciate. I get what you were saying. I really appreciate it.
You have to kind of contain yourself when you're giving the news. You can't say, "Oh, there's a war," and
right
on Mars, and laugh about it.
Right. Absolutely. I
didn't want to thought of the country like that. I had to think quick.
Nice one.
So what does your daughter think? Has she seen you on screen? She
does. She's cool. She likes the cartoon. She's like, oh, I'm like, here's Daddy on national network television. But she's like, yeah, put Clarence on. So I mean, which I get. I mean, I would if I were 8 years old, I would want to see a bunch of kids running around, and that as well. But I mean, I'll say, oh, dude, I gotta tell you this. This happened after church on Sunday. And this was so they made these torches, right? And it had written like 1 Corinthians, and it was talking about being firm and having courage. And so I was just, I love like talking about her Sunday school lesson, like right after on the way home. And so I said, okay, so what does that mean to you? And we went down the line. And so finally we got to courage. And I said, so tell me about, tell me what courage, tell me about what courage means to you. And she said, I'm like, having courage is being strong in the face of pain or uncertainty or what have you. And I said, what do you think an example of courage is? And she said, well, it would be like if you audition for a movie and you don't get it, but you keep working super hard all the time because you know you're going to get the next one.
Wow.
And I was like,
from an 8-year-old.
And I was like, are you talking about me? And she's like, yeah. And it brought tears to my eyes. And I was like, you never doubted 1 second, do you? And she said, it was one of the most rewarding moments of my life.
And it should be, because look how good of a great job you've done raising her.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, her mom is, my fiance does wonderful, thank you so much for that. I wanted to spread the credit.
Well, I know it takes a village. I mean, but you're primarily there. You're the primary, and so she's going to take your lead before anybody else's.
I appreciate that. And
that's phenomenal. I loved hearing that.
So,
well, Dan, I don't want to keep you much longer because it is your birthday, and I know you've got things to do.
Well, this is a wonderful way to start it, Tim. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to have me, and to all your viewers for giving me this time today. It really meant everything. It was the best birthday present I could have.
Well, I greatly appreciate you doing this, and thank you for saying that. And I really do hope you have a great birthday, and I hope you'll come back.
Thank you. I would love to come back. Thank you so much, Tim. Have a great day, brother.
If you'll hang out backstage for just a moment, I'll be right back there.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank Dan White for being here today and chatting with us. I'd like to thank the Necrotizing Fasciitis Foundation for sponsoring our show. For more information on necrotizing fasciitis, please visit www.necfasc.org. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great upcoming episodes. And please remember to be kind to one another. Have a great day, everyone.